You're up.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our May 4th Board of Supervisors meeting. This time we're going to call the meeting to order, and Mr. Slade is going to pray for us.
Be glad to, guys. Let's open with a word of prayer. Father, your word tells us that we begin our time of prayer this morning with a word of praise to you. Lord, we say that we do praise you because you have heard our cry for mercy. Lord, you are our strength and our shield. Our hearts trust in you because you help us. Father, our hearts will leap for joy and we will sing a song of praise to you. You are our strength. You are the strength of your people. You're a fortress of salvation for the anointed one. Father, you save your people. You bless your inheritance. And Lord, you are our shepherd and you will carry us forever. In these days, Lord, these are the words that comfort us. These are the words that we need. Father, I pray for these men. Father, that they would recognize the privilege that they have to service. God bless them. Give them wisdom, Lord. And Father, for those folks that are out there on the front line serving us every single day, Father, we just can't thank you enough for them. Sing their praises enough. Father, we can never repay them. Let them know how appreciated they are in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Eric. Okay, we have no one signed up for public comments. We'll move on to old business. Got a motion to approve minutes?
Motion.
Yes, ma'am. I'll go back on.
Okay. Mike Word wants to be recognized as.
Oh, all right.
Got a motion to approve minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Steve. Second by Brad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, so we do have someone who wants to be recognized. Mr. Word.
Good morning. Just got a couple of things for you this morning. The very first one, I just received an email this morning that MEMA has opened up an excess on the EMPG grant money that some of these counties didn't spend. They've got another $5,000 matching grant application for technology. At some point, if it's your wish today, if you would approve us to apply for that, we'll certainly apply. They're going to change the game on us this time. The last time we applied for this, I was sitting in here when I got the email. I asked you about it. Within 2 hours, we had our application there. So now, all of a sudden, they're going to hold everybody's application to make sure everybody gets a chance to put in. So if you guys want us to do that, we'll do that. Really quick rundown on what we've had over the last little bit. Every day in April, every single day of April, with the exception of 3 days, we've had severe weather here in the state of Mississippi. So as you guys well know, it's been a very, very trying time on us and as well as everybody else. Today, we're hoping to get with the store manager at Home Depot. A couple of years ago, they gave us a ready box with some supplies in it. We'd like to go over to Home Depot today and do a little Facebook Live video on hurricane awareness and just getting everybody to be sure that they've got themselves prepared. We plan on doing that today as well. Still waiting on coronavirus numbers this morning. I have not seen those. I just sent you guys out the last 7 days of addresses, so you should have that to you or at your email as soon as I walk back there and push send on it. On our supplies, we're still getting some of those are beginning to flow in. I guess the supply chains are beginning to open up somewhat. I've been able to. I'll say it like this. I feel fairly confident on our supply for this fall at this point. However, I just read a story this morning on the KN95, which is the majority of masks that are going out. The NIOSH and CDC are now saying that those are about 35% effective. So I don't know what the story is going to come out on those, if they're going to be doing some recalls or if we're going to end up with more of those, which I hope we do. I feel like some of these hospitals are going to start rejecting these KN95s. In my mind, a little bit of something's better than a whole lot of nothing. So we'll see how that plays out from there. But I feel fairly confident in Rankin County's cache, if you will, of personal protective equipment for this fall. I feel like we're going to have a huge influx this fall, especially after the kids get back to school. So we'll just see where that's going. We had a longtime firefighter, Mr. Jim Vance, that died yesterday over at Cleary. Over 40 years of service to Rankin County. We're still getting details on that as well. Two more things really quickly. On our monthly test that we did on our sirens, we had a couple obviously that didn't go off. That's a normal thing for us. One of the ones that did not work was one that you guys just approved to spend about $9,000 on about 90 days ago. It worked twice, and now it's broke again. I have called or put word in for Jackson Communications to see if they would entertain a warranty in their work, and I've not heard anything back on that. So before we expend any more funds on that, we'll see, and I'll bring it back to you guys, and we'll see where we need to go from there. There was a declaration that just came out today for the February flooding event on the Valentine's flood of this year. There is a tremendous amount of counties that are involved in that, with the exception of Rankin County. Rankin and Madison are not in the declaration. However, by purview of us being adjacent to Hinds County, every other declaration that I've ever seen, it would be just like we got the declaration as well. So I'm getting with my AC today, my area coordinator with MEMA, to verify that and make sure and see exactly what it is that we can turn in for that, because we do have some expenses here. I know Mike Harrison has, I think it's 3 culverts, 3 pretty big jobs. One with, what was the name of it?
River Chase, we've got,
River Chase.
Yeah.
Right. So if we can recover or recoup some of those funds that we expended out, then that's good.
That'd
So
be awesome.
we're gonna run that up the chain and see. Just I'm not sure on. I've never done a declaration or tried to get some PA on something that we weren't actually on. So I don't know if we go to the bottom of the list or how that works out. So, but we'll keep you guys posted, as well as Miss Laura and Mr. Slay, as well as to do whatever kind of paperwork we need to see if we can recover some of those funds. So, other than that, that's all I've got. If you guys want to, at some point through your meeting, if you want to approve us to apply for that matching funds on the grant, that's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess. Y'all want to add that item now?
Yeah,
Yeah, please.
I make a motion, we add that to the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Yeah.
Same thing, motion to approve
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared.
request for a grant.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on down. Consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Motion by Jared.
Second.
Second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Ms. Gilbert, welcome back.
I know, right?
Like you had a crowd waiting on you this morning.
Oh, it's every day. The only thing I have today is a request to void 2019 tax sale. Actually, that should be 2018. For PIN 77285. This was just a clerk posting error and should not have resulted in the property going through the land sale process.
Motion.
Motion approved.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Was kind of a ordeal. Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Sullivan. That's really who I'm welcoming back.
This is my last term, I'm gonna get even less, so just get used to it.
Good to see you anyway.
Thank you. Item A, petition to change the assessment, 2019 real property assessment.
Motion approved.
Motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Steve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And item B, C, and D, request to void the 2018 tax sale. As
Motion
read.
approved.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Ms. Herring.
Motion to approve.
All right.
You got one, not the first
Second.
Works for me.
Say what it is.
Just, we have a copy of our contract renewal for with Southern Duplicating for the tax collector's office. I'm asking approval for.
All right.
Motion.
Motion by Steve.
Second.
Second by Jared. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget.
Mike, you can save your trip unless you got something else to say. Motion approved, road work accomplished and road work scheduled.
All right. Motion by Jared.
Second.
Second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Come on up, Timothy. It's a New one?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Timothy.
Thank you for that, Ms. Janice. Item we have is on Hanley Circle street improvements. We're recommending approval of pay app number 3 to Thornton Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $35,941.06 and authority to issue the check.
Yes, so moved.
Motion by Daniel,
Second.
second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Oh, that's it? Thank you. Mr. Slade.
Good morning, gentlemen.
You've got them on here this time.
Looks like the first 4 items, A, B, C, and D, under my section are to set public hearings. If you will, I would request we take all 4 of those same time. They are to set from May 15 to 9 o'clock.
Yes, so moved.
Motion by Daniel approved.
Second.
Second by Steve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. President, item E is consideration of and potential action to approve a 1-year service agreement between Rankin County and Mimecast Cybersecurity for county email protection. It's a professional service agreement. The agreement provides for a 1-year service term with the option to renew for successive 1-year periods at the discretion of the county. It also provides for a 30-day termination option at any point during the term of the agreement. So the annual cost of that is $27,730. We're getting a ton of email phishing that is hitting us, and this is a service that provides the protection not just at the point where it is already in our system. It is also designed to capture that kind of email traffic before it ever hits our system. So it's a broad-based system, and this is a recommendation from the IT director.
All right. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
A quick point that I would make here is that consistently what we do, and when I say we, I'm talking about your administrative staff, we're looking for ways to introduce this 30-day termination option for the board, and we're trying to introduce that in virtually every contract. The IT director and I were forced to engage in a multi-day negotiation process to get that term in there. That's an important provision for me, in my opinion. It gives us the best protection that we can find. If we get into a situation where a relatively long-term contract is not working for us, we need that ability then to terminate that contract and move on. And so it's been a point of contention in the past. When I have an opportunity to review contracts, I'm going to be trying to introduce that provision in there for our own protection, but just understand that sometimes that creates some delay in getting everything done. So I just wanted to say to you guys that your IT director was very patient dealing with the lawyer about
I
that.
was impressed with your knowledge of this application.
We spent a lot of time talking about this, believe me,
Can,
to the point where I was asking questions like, who are the competitors to this company? So I was heavily involved in the cybersecurity for email protection world. Steve?
This annual contract, $27,730.
Yes, sir.
Do we pay that in one lump sum?
Yes, sir. We pay it up front, and then
If we're not happy after 30 days, they're gonna send it back?
well, there is.
I think we're stuck for a year.
Yeah, for the first year, I would argue with you that they probably, well, at this point, they probably earned that. The paces that they've been put through to try to get us to this point. But going forward, Steve, what that does is it gives us an opportunity to get to a point in a contract where the 30-day out really does become efficient for us or effective for us. So if we're in the last 3 months, we're just not going to renew it. And so it's a way to keep the honest. That's the best way I can say that 30-day out helps us.
They would probably recognize it more if you paid them monthly.
Yes, sir. Yep, or at the end.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to do it at the end. But.
Right, you're right. Item F is a discussion of and potential action to authorize the execution of a renewal and extension agreement between Rankin County and Pafford. You guys approved the workup of this renewal and extension. We have put that document together. I have it. It should be attached. Is it attached, Ms. Janice? Is it in here?
Because
Okay.
I don't get the pack and I don't
Okay.
have their computer.
I got you. So if you're interested in looking at it, it tracks what we discussed at your prior meeting. It's a 4-year renewal. It's the 90-day out provision that's in that particular agreement. It's at the exact same terms and conditions of the prior agreement, with a contingency built into this renewal and extension that it is in fact only effective insofar as they cooperate with us with respect to our legislative action that we're seeking, which is seeking the law change that allows for exclusivity for BLS transports or non-emergency transports. And the way that the extension document reads is, if they cooperate and we are successful in securing that change in the law, the subsidy goes away. Okay? So that was what the board wanted to see. It's in the renewal and extension, and we've got to put it in front of them. I wanted this board to authorize it before we put it in their hands. And so that's what this provision does.
What's their early indications
Well,
on
I
that
think
part?
I think they understand, Steve, that that's what we're going to be asking for. I'm fairly confident. I don't know. I haven't heard from Little Rock. Can I put it that way?
Yeah.
I think the local guys are fully apprised of the board's intention to get cooperation on a change in the law. And let me say this, that they are in favor of it. It's not like we're going to have to beg them to cooperate with us on that. Okay? They, in fact, have sought their own legislation on that point. So I think what we're looking for is a combined effort, both them and us together, going forward to the legislature with that particular ask.
Oh, I spoke with Madison County too, and they are on board with wanting to make this happen. Just, with their change of attorneys, I guess.
That's correct. We no longer had a voice from Madison County that we could rely on to speak for the board. We were kind of guessing as to where they wanted to go. So hopefully it'll be not just Rankin County and Pafford cooperating, it'll be multiple counties, maybe even including Hines. But because it's affecting all of us in the metro. All right?
The only,
Motion to approve?
well, the only wording I would like to see that might be different would be, instead of saying that it would go away, that we would have the discussion at that point.
Yeah, actually, probably when I said it goes away, what the option of the board is to revisit. This board has an option at that point
To revisit the subsidy, that's right.
the issue of the subsidy and
Correct.
to revisit the issue
Yeah.
of a potential RFP.
Correct.
So you've got a hammer
Yeah.
that's there, okay? You've got a hammer that's there. But the language, Daniel, is pretty clear. Let me read that to you right out of the document itself. In the event the ambulance legislation is passed and becomes law, Rankin County will immediately cease providing any subsidy to Pafford. That's if the law passes and goes into effect, okay? So it's pretty direct. That's the way that the renewal and extension, and this document was drafted, put together on the basis of what legal counsel understood the board's position to be in our prior discussion. If the board wishes to revisit the language, the board, obviously you have discretion at any point to do that. But this is what we understood that the majority of the board wanted to see in the extension document.
Well, do we feel like there's more than $100,000 a year of revenue that they're losing by these non-BL, whatever they're called? Are they losing more than $100,000 a year?
Yeah.
In this county, you think?
But based on what we understand, Steve, I don't know that anybody's done an economic takeoff on it. That's one of the things, by the way, that if the board recalls, when we started talking about the legislation, we asked you for permission to hire an expert in concert with Madison County and Hines County. You remember that?
Yeah.
We split that expert cost up. That's one of the items that the expert was analyzing. What exactly is the cost to the ambulance provider? That we never got that determination made because the decision was made to stop.
Yep.
So we don't have good numbers that we could share with the board. I can tell you from a practical standpoint, the fact that Pafford is seeking the legislation in its own right suggests that what they are losing to a poacher is a big number.
Yeah.
I would also suggest to you that a poacher that's having to put $1 million in, well, I don't know if he had to, how much he had to put in to do a BLS bus? Couple $100,000?
Yeah, probably at least, I'd
Probably.
say 500,000, wouldn't you, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, to run the ALS truck, you're pushing it between
That's about $1
750 and $1 million,
Yeah.
so the BLS truck would probably be 450, 500,000, Brian? Yep.
You better be running some calls if you're going to staff
That's
and
one
operate
truck.
one bus
One truck, yeah.
in Rankin County. You better be, the revenue side of that better be pretty strong.
Yep. Yep. That's probably the most dependable revenue in the county too.
Oh, I have no doubt.
With
They're
guarantees-
collecting from the government.
Guarantees you pay.
Yeah, the payer's the government.
Yep.
So it's a no-brainer for them. Did we get a motion on that? I don't know if we
Not
did.
yet.
I'll make a motion that we,
Yeah.
I think we were discussing, what Daniel was asking about the language. Were you finished?
You made the motion though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Steve to approve, second by Jared. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes got it.
We'll have Jay sign that, and then it'll be sent to Pafford for execution. And so that's where, I wanted you guys to know where we are in the process. They have not reviewed and agreed, but we wanted the strength of an agreement that has already been signed by the board. This is the board's position, okay? We'll get it to them. That's all I had, gentlemen.
Good.
All right. Ms. Oster.
Thank you. The first item I have this morning is on our new courthouse facility, and it's approval of pay application number 34 to Chris Albritton in the amount of $732,889.79 and authority to issue that check, and I hesitate to go past that.
Okay, we'll just take that part.
Yep,
Motion.
Motion to approve by Steve,
second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Uh,
Ayes have it.
The next item is authority to pay Monterey Fire Department the insurance proceeds received for hailstorm damage in the amount of $1,466.74 and authority to issue that check.
Motion approved.
Motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Brad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The next item is on the re-roofing project for the EOC, and its approval for pay application number 3 to M&S Roofing in the amount of $26,483 and authority to issue that check. And I believe there'll be one more after that, and it's retainage.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Motion by Steve, second,
Second.
second by Jared. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Hey, Laura, how are we looking as far as what the total cost of that is gonna be for what we thought it would look like?
It's going to be less.
That's what I was thinking about looking at these numbers.
It's going to be less. I think both of the projects that we've done so far are less than the original estimate. Now, CMRLS might eat up the difference in what
Yeah.
was estimated, but both of them right now are under the amount. I do have one item to add. I just received it via email this morning, and that is to accept our solid waste assistance grant in the amount of $43,659, and that will run through December of 2022.
Okay. Have a motion approved?
This would be to add this one.
All right.
Okay.
Motion by Steve to add,
Second.
second by Jared. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Now then.
Steve approves. Jared seconds it.
Yeah.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Hey, do you have that letter for our tax? I just got an email about our, use tax.
Yes.
Department of Revenue, we have to return it by the
Yes,
15th?
yes, and I have that, and I filled it out, and I'm ready to send it back to them.
Okay. So we got one payment. Are we gonna get another payment?
Yes, every January and July will be our payments. We received one in January. At that point, I didn't have to fill anything out.
Yeah.
Now I have to tell what we expended in the FY19 year, and that will determine what we get, and it will be in July when we receive our next money.
So we'll put our 1.2 million we spent, or 1.3, even though we're only getting 600. What is our total we'll have?
I don't know, I don't remember right now, but basically in a phone conversation I had the other day, what every other county is doing, and like I did, we're basically taking our road expenditures for last year, subtracting out anything that would have been bond related, which we got that reimbursement, so I've subtracted that, and anything state aid. And the rest will be submitted,
Oh, the whole number, not just
The-
1.3.
the whole number less bond and state aid
Hmm.
will be submitted. We're not gonna get that much back by any stretch of the imagination, but that is
We'll
the actual.
qualify for the max.
That's
Yeah.
right,
But our first payment, what was it?
around 150,000.
Oh, wow, so this is only gonna be 300 for the first year?
I don't know what the rest is gonna be. I wasn't even, a lot of us weren't even expecting that money in January when it came.
Yeah, we understood that this would be 2021.
Right,
That's
Before
what
we-
That's what we
right.
understood,
Where it starts?
the first
right,
month.
the first money. So we
Next
weren't
year,
even,
we should go to 50%.
So I'm thinking, Jay, that you can't track what we're going to be getting leading up to 2021 on the basis of what we've gotten in January and what we're gonna get in July. I think these will be short of what we can anticipate the full number to be. This appears to me to be like a ramping up to get to a point.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do you have any other additional business?
Yeah, I like to get Mike up here and let's talk about this piece of paper. Come on up, Mike.
I started something. Oh, yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
Want to talk, we've been meeting on and off for the last year or so with a chemical company called Chempro. They've done some work for us in the past. We've done some test samples of different things, floor spraying and wall spraying. And basically what I gave y'all a handout, kind of gives you a breakdown of what our labor cost is, equipment cost.
Hey, Mike, we probably all know, but maybe people out there don't know floor spraying versus wall spraying. You're not talking about in here.
No, I'm talking about the
Sounds
side.
like a house.
Yeah, I'm talking about the side of the road right of ways, treating those.
The ditches or the floor.
Ditches and-
Side back, the back side of the ditch and trees or
side.
whatever. Yeah.
And be side trimming with the chemical on the sidewalls of what I call vertical. Vertical and horizontal spraying, how about that? On the right of ways. Basically got a breakdown of a labor cost of, I don't have my glasses, so I'm gonna try to say this right, $232,017 just in labor costs that we spend a year in bush hogging. We spend about $60,000 in fuel and repair, to keep them up and running. We're looking at what I call the floor or the right-of-way part. We could spray, and I'm anticipating, I've looked at it, kind of rough done it, we can do about 700 miles or less, it'd be somewhere less than that, in the county out of 1,200 miles. 'Cause like Daniel's got subdivision, Jay's got subdivision, all y'all have got subdivisions that we would not be going in and treating. This is just gonna be treating rural country roads, trying to maintain the brush and the grass on those roads. And the chemicals we're gonna be using is gonna be really trying to retreat and get a muda grass growing on our right of ways instead of all different kind of grass and weeds growing on it.
So is it gonna kill all vegetation?
It will the first time, Jay.
Like your ryegrass and your
So
winter
You're
stuff.
not afraid of?
Not on the
erosion?
limbs. Oh, well.
We may get a little bit, Jay, but we just don't have that big of right of ways to get a lot of erosion on. We're trying to do this early enough in the year to where we get grass growing back by winter time on it. And what I'm looking at is, I don't know if it impacted this year just because we're so late in the year, but what I'm looking at is, and I've talked to other counties that's using these programs, they've cut their mowing in half, it just depends on what your tolerance is on mowing, is grass this tall good enough, or grass this tall got to be cut? We got to figure out what our tolerance will be on that.
Ryegrass dies May anyway. I mean, it's just,
But I've talked to some counties that's got down to where they're cutting twice a year. Once right now, making an initial cut, then they come in there and spray it so it's not tall, and then one more time in the fall cleaning up.
intersections,
How often are you doing it currently?
What, bush hogging?
Yeah, how
Where
often
you-
do we go
we-
to one
we
spot
make-
manually?
We try to make 3 rounds a year.
depends on the year, how
Depending
wet,
on
how
how the
the grass
weather
is
and
growing.
everything else. I've made as many as 4 rounds a year.
A wet year, it just is growing, so. Biggest thing is these intersections, you know, we get that so much
Right.
with site, issues. But a lot of times, that's something that, if this spray could be used, would, basically prune that
Well, I
back.
mean, we spend, like a long arm tractor costs us about $180,000. We got 4 of them. I mean, you can't keep all 4 of them running at the same time, you know.
Let me ask you,
Maintenance costs.
the only thing, let me ask you this, you know, when you spray, the trees, those limbs eventually die. All right, you know, what we have right now, when we go clipping, we have a problem with cutting them back. We have to go back and then clean up some of it because it's in the ditches and all. Is this gonna be the same problem?
It should be less on us, Jared, because we've done a pretty good job of getting around the county, long arming everything. That's what we do in the wintertime, is focus on long arming all the trees, what we can reach.
Right.
So mostly what you're gonna be spraying is stuff about 2 foot long. Most of that's gonna shrivel up and just turn to nothing, you
Right.
know? And that's why I'm recommending, you know, you come back and do that last bush hogging at the end of the year, just to clean up your sticks and stuff like that, it'll kind of grind all that stuff up. You know, leaves is, I mean, that's a big problem with us, with just the trees keeping, we'll never stop that, you know. That's
You
our
want
big.
to hire this company to come in and spray?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of look at it, talk to y'all about it before we engage, but I think me and Craig could probably look at a contract with them, just like we did the other deal, 30-day out deal, and try to get something started this year.
Are we still spraying in Mill Creek on those spots? When do we
Yeah,
spray?
we're
those?
treating the vegetation only on those places
Yeah,
now.
when is that, May?
May, June, later part of June, we try to come in there, you know, the woodies hadn't really come out, the grass has, you know, but grass is good, you know, for a ditch. The vegetation's what's killing us, but what we've noticed over the years, if you spray these right of ways, you're gonna be killing these little oak saplings that's sprouting in the ditches, and, I mean, the right of ways are steadily closing in. I remember in the 80s on Rockwood Road, I mean, you could cut from fence row to fence row when I used to work for the county and bush hog then. And you can't do that now. You know, it's just encroached in from trees resprouting and vegetation growing out. This will help us maintain our right of ways that we have established, you know.
I think it'd save a lot of money to the county.
Well, you're talking about treating the floor, 700 miles of floor, you're talking about spending about $63,000
Versus bush hogging.
versus bush hog.
What I've seen, Mike, when they've sprayed, and we sprayed some similar stuff around roads on my farm, initially, it will yellow. But within 2 weeks, your Bermuda grass will start greening back up, and the others are usually not nearly as strong as the Bermuda. And what we want in those ditches and
Is
banks
Bermuda grass.
is Bermuda, because
That's
it can go 2 months and not be any taller than
Yeah,
that.
Bermuda won't ever get hardly no taller than that.
I mean,
right
that's our
there.
goal to me,
That's not it.
to have a
That's not-
Bermuda.
And
And
that's-
have to bush hog maybe once a year.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're using a chemical that's gonna kill basically everything but Bermuda grass. And it'll leave the Bermuda grass alone. And, but they'll use different formulas in different areas. We talked about that the other day. You know, some of the real rural area we'll hit pretty hard, you know, try to get a handle on it. And to where some of this other stuff, just like Old Fannin Road, I spray it every year with a grass retardant. And it does keep us.
Has it impacted it any?
Yeah, I mean, it grows, Jay, but it don't grow like it used to. You know, it'll just grow up and pop up a little old seed head, and that's what I say, we got to figure out what's gonna be acceptable. I mean, I know some people want it to look like their yard, I don't think we can all make every road look like their their yards.
As long as you make Old Fannin look that way.
Well, I've got places that every time the bush hog runs, they call and I get complaints because there's grass on the road. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, who's gonna come out here and sweep this road that's on the county line? And the bush hog cut a trench down the ditch.
Right.
I go look at it.
Rutted their yard
There's
up.
nothing to it.
This would alleviate that. You know, these are
And the
very,
chemical
very
company's
rural
gonna take
areas.
care of all complaints, you know, I mean, they're gonna spray, I mean, we will have some stuff that probably will have some issues, you know, that'll be on right of way that we'll have to help engage with. I'm looking at Craig on this, excuse me.
And you might have people that just don't want any kind of spray.
Right, and I mean, we're
You
aware
got
of
a
those
marker-
people,
you
we're
got the
aware,
markings up there, do not spray.
yeah, we're aware of some of
Signs.
these people in the county, I mean, there's 3 or 4 locations around the county, people do not want spraying in their area.
I think I think they take responsibility if they spray and it hits a tree and somebody sues.
That's right.
I think that's
Oh,
part of their
yes.
contract.
It is.
That it'll be,
Have to be.
indemnification will be in there, not the other way. We won't be indemnifying them, but they'll be indemnifying the county for any damage that's caused as a result of their operations. While I got the floor, if I may, Mr. President, Daniel asked about spraying in Mill Creek. I always like to clarify on the record what that means, because it sounds a little strange sometimes, folks' ears, what we doing in a creek like that. Board is reminded that Rankin County accepted federal funds long ago to make certain types of improvement, primarily soil and erosion control improvements inside Mill Creek, accepted that federal money, and with the federal money came the responsibility to maintain. And that maintenance responsibility does not go away. So we enter into Mill Creek in select areas where there has been federal funding spent through Rankin County, and we maintain that by virtue of that contractual responsibility. So we don't accept responsibility for maintenance of Mill Creek unless it is within those narrow areas where federal funds have been spent. Always like to make that clarification on the record because it gets confusing sometimes.
You wanna try, may spray it one time this year? Or
I think that's all we're gonna get, Steve, excuse me, I think
Cause
that's.
you're gonna but you haven't made the round one
Right,
time.
we're just probably 3 to 4 weeks away from making the first round. I think by the time we get contract in place and we're gonna probably be looking at the 1st of June, getting all this done.
Then they could start back where you've already bushed.
Right, I'm hoping this second pass, they can start following behind us, and then that'll eliminate probably nothing but the fall cleanup, you know. And I mean, once we go to spraying like this, I think we can cut our bush hogging way down where we get on a program, but we're gonna have to get on a program. It's gonna be a every year deal. But I mean,
We could eliminate some of the long arm machinery.
yes.
How
Especially-
far though, just asking this, and that may be where you have to come in, how far will it get? Because I know sometimes the long arms are stretched out pretty good
I've
piece.
seen it
They're
spray
max, huh?
15 to 18
I know,
foot.
but I'm just
I don't know
wondering
about
with
theirs,
this,
I think
Yeah,
height wise, he can get about 17.
About 17 foot tall, about what we can reach with our long
Yeah.
arms, so they're basically gonna be treating just what we spray with our long arms.
that's what I'm asking. Are they gonna be able to get that?
Yes, sir.
You know, another thing, I don't know if they can do this at all.
But now, some of this stuff, like on state aid roads, is got
So far off the road.
30 foot away from the road, we will not be able to treat that because it's too far. They'll have to keep this truck on the road, you know, on that, so it'll be a lot for our local interior county roads that we have to kind of constantly long arm to keep.
You know,
clean.
one thing we're having problems with is, limbs that are high, but they're drooping down, and they're going below the, legal height. And you got people with motor homes, travel trailers hitting those air conditioners and things, but technically, we're below legal height. And so I don't know if this could help any of that. I don't know what the answer is there, because we've got a lot of these rural roads.
This will not
that
help
are-
none of that. We'll have to look at a different type piece of equipment. I don't have anything that can reach that.
I know.
Jared,
Giraffe.
and the problem is, it gets, when you're cutting that limb, you get into a much bigger limb that's oversized for what we need to be cutting with our machines. And that's one thing that's happening to our long arms. We cut, and everything done made a big cluster ball right there. And when you're trying to cut and you hang that big old snag that's done branched out right there, you can't
Right.
see it. Something fixing to break, you know.
Right.
What is the legal height that a limb can be over the road?
Well, clearance is 14 feet.
13.6 is your
Yeah.
legal height.
So you need to be at least 14.
So if you're 14 feet.
You can't go straight up 14 with that long arm.
No. Well, and the problem you run into is
You
that
got
limb.
to get
that
slammed on
limb's
the other
here.
side,
Where's
opposite
that
side of the
limb?
road trying to cut it. I mean, there's no way to, where you can't sit in one lane and keep
Right.
traffic going. I mean, you just got to shut the road down to do it. I mean, a lot of times we get in the back of dump trucks, we have a problem with a extension saw and try to take care of those areas. But that's something we'll have to look at. I mean, the more we cut the canopy like this, the more the canopy wants to do like this. At some point, we'll have to address that canopy problem.
Yeah, we are, yeah. Because you got
And
these
we
guys.
talked about it, but I don't see it this year, you know, looking at a machine that
No.
will handle that.
Well, a long arm with a tractor run you how much money?
180,000,
That's,
one machine, yes,
how many do we have right now?
4.
How many's running? How many's working?
2 today, I think. It was just one Friday, but I think we got another up running this morning on it.
Tough on them.
It's tough on it.
That's a tough, yeah, it's tough.
I mean, Jared's, he's helped look at some of the stuff we've had to weld up. I mean, break the boom, slam off of them, you know, I mean,
That's tough.
they're not
Reaching
made
out so
to
far,
design
it's
what
just-
we do with them.
And they're not cutting grass.
Yeah.
That's different.
I mean, I know you've got labor like Jay. You got labor in here, and we're not gonna really cut back on labor, because those guys are gonna go to something else. You're not gonna lay them off.
No, sir, we're not gonna lay them off. We're looking at some
Labor's
other-
one of the smallest items. It is the smallest, I think. But what do you think we really could save in a normal year if we went to this program?
50%. We got on the program and stayed after it. I think we could be at 50%.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about taking 1, 2, 4 bush hogs out of this mix. You know,
But you still got to do it, just less. Right?
Yeah.
you're just gonna do less of it, Jay. I mean, basically what I see the design of doing, I mean, I've looked at it a couple different ways. We're just so big in the county from the north end to the south end. I mean, if you left the north end of the county and drove to the south end, it takes about an hour and 15, 20 minutes to do that. So it's hard for one crew just to start at the north and work their way south. I think we'll have so many complaints. What I see us doing is basically a guy in a pickup with a trailer that he can load up a tractor and move up here to this area and cut this little area that's gotta be done. He'll load up and move another 20 miles and do some more cutting.
It's on the long arm?
No, just a bush hog. It'll be just moving around no more than our work order crews, catching areas that need bush hog that we was
We might
never.
use long arm on some things, I would think.
I think we'll cut that way down to where we're just using it mostly in the wintertime, Jerry. We
Well,
may
I
have a
like
little
thinking
bit.
outside the box and trying to save some money, so, do we
Yeah.
have to bid this out?
I'm leaning,
Here's,
I'm looking.
we're gonna have to think that through. The first question I had was, they're providing a product, which is the chemical itself.
Yeah.
So we need to confer about whether or not this is gonna fall into professional service exclusively or not.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to tell you for sure.
I think
How did y'all do the mosquito spray? Did y'all have to bid it out?
No,
We
we
do it
went
ourselves.
out to RFP on that, and so I think we sort of, we felt more comfortable because it was a competitive process.
But we did have to, when we did spray ourselves, we did have to bid out the chemical.
That's right.
Sure did.
But I think most of the chemical we can buy under state contract. I'm not 100% sure. I'm leaning on Bridget right there looking at her. I know we got,
They have been on there in the past.
Yeah, but they'll have their own chemical, won't they?
It's very
Right.
difficult
I
to get
trust them to mix
Yeah,
that.
I'd rather have them own than must be buying.
I mean, if they gonna,
at the time that we need the services to get a second quote fast, it's very difficult.
I think we're gonna be over the 50 on
oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
it. So,
We do want 2 roads and it's over
Yeah.
to 5, so I mean, just small roads. It's very difficult to get
Right.
the 2 quotes at the time that we need the
Right.
roads.
I mean, it's difficult for me to get to Mill Creek done and what I need to get
I'm
done in
not
the rock.
saying that I feel like this is the answer, but right now, I'm thinking that we may be better served to try to put together an RFP and try to move it quickly, understanding the
Hey,
time.
if we,
Sounds like you'll have to. I mean, that'd be the only way you could do
we
it.
don't wanna get started in August.
No.
We wouldn't get a very good read on it.
Right.
August.
We'll study it and work with Mike on how to package this.
but now
Now,
they.
before I went any further, I just kinda wanted to air out with
Okay.
y'all what, you know, if y'all was interested, then we'll start getting contracts in place and set up with Craig and start, and Miss Laura. and
I'm
start
interested.
talking
We're gonna
about-
have to keep going as we are now. We can't just stop thinking.
Right, no, we're not gonna stop there, but I mean, we're doing our own in-house spraying right now, but I mean, we spending, you know, roughly, you know, $15,000 a year just in our own chemicals, doing what we do. And we're
Right.
spraying a good bit of the county, we're just not doing it the right way, and I just feel much better with people that know how to do this besides.
What are you gonna do with your big spray truck then?
Well, we'll keep it because we'll have random stuff that we'll have to spray ourselves, you know, on it, but, I mean, it's just an old truck we put together, it's not a, it's a paid for piece of equipment. So if y'all was interested, I'll engage further and then we can kinda look at it from there.
I'm
I was
interested.
just trying to get y'all's feel.
Alright.
I'm
Thank y'all.
interested in to see, and, we can always be a trial deal. Try it and see how it's gonna work out.
But you're looking at basically,
I wish we had it right now, because right now is when the grass is gonna jump
Peak time.
from now till the middle of June,
Well, you're getting
rain.
you're getting summer grass now instead of just that spring grass. It's starting, the permanent grass is coming on now.
but the side right of ways of the floor will run you somewhere around $85 to $90 a mile.
And that's both sides of the road.
That's both sides of the road. When I say a mile, they take care of both sides, and the sidewall will run $350.
How long will it, I mean, how many miles a day can they get?
They said on the floor they can do 40 to 50 miles a day. Sidewall,
Shooting along.
probably about half of that, depending on how the wind is.
2 weeks. It
The
was
only
on.
problem is drift. Well, how do they deal with drift?
They've got a drift control in it, Jared. They don't, I mean, that's the thing about them. I mean, they're not paying somebody payroll. If they go out there and the wind's 30 miles an hour, they're not gonna spray that day.
Right.
You know, they're gonna send them home, you know. They can spray on days wind's variable. They're gonna get out there first thing in the morning, do that. If they got to spray on Saturdays, they'll do it at that point,
Do
you
they
know.
have some contracts with other counties that you could talk to?
I know they do a bunch for, like up in the north end, Itawamba and some of those. I can get a list
I
and
think they
see.
do something for Simpson County too.
They do some, they do quite a bit. What they did with Simpson County, I talked to Simpson County, they went in and treated their whole floor and sidewalls in 1 year. Then they come back and did it on a quarterly deal. The third did a quarter each year from there. 3-year rotation is what they did.
Oh, so they're flexible like that too.
Yeah, I mean, basically, once we get the floor and the sidewalls treated, I think we can get on a 3-year program that we're breaking this thing up into a quarterly deal. We're just not doing so much, you know, on that. But,
Well, maybe we save enough money there, we look at doing something to get those high limbs out of there. Because that's gonna be a continual problem, not gonna go away.
yeah, I mean, what I recommend doing is if this goes away, we can sell probably 2 of our long arm machines we'll keep two for, I mean, you're gonna have some places you're gonna have to
Right.
work with that,
Right.
just like our own spray truck, but, then we can look at going into something that we can get those limbs up higher in the wintertime, that we can work on that in the
We only
wintertime.
have two longhorns working right now anyhow, so it'd be fine with us.
Yeah.
We only had, can't keep the two of them going at a time
I
anyhow.
understand. But, all right, well, I'll move forward on that. That's good with y'all. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike, have you ever looked at those, I think you, I don't know if you have one, it goes on the mini traco, that's kinda like a long arm, it's just not as long. It's just kinda
We
like-
are looking at those.
Yeah.
Some of the machinery we're looking at has that attachment capability.
Mhm.
I'm looking at a machine now that, the problem is, Jared, there's a lot of these machines that say they'll do that, and they will mow.
But they're not heavy enough to handle.
Well, they'll mow, but you can't swing the boom, you can't track, you can't do nothing. Some of these equipment companies have come out and put a third pump on their machine that lets you walk and do everything while it runs the cutter head. That's where I'm hoping to swap transition my equipment over to, eventually. I think we're 3 years out. There's some equipment we're looking at right now that I'm hoping when we transverse through that, we can buy that machine and we just move it
Yeah,
into
'cause
the
a lot
place.
of them have a separate, whole separate, basically motor that runs that, hydraulic
Well,
pump
it's
for that
got its
one
own
thing.
pump built
That's
in the machine that lets it run just that cutter head.
That's right.
So it
That's
don't
right.
affect the machine
Mhm.
as far as it's running, but, you know, still the thing is, you're gonna get about a 16-foot reach.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
the
you
thing,
got to
that's
get
what
to
goes
something
further.
that's gonna cut limbs if you're gonna get,
Right.
Like,
get over that.
like the electrical company, power line cleared, something like a big arm giraffe.
Yeah, it would be
Giraffe
like that giraffe,
type
and
thing.
we talked to the board about the giraffe, you know. I don't want to sky out because I don't think we could pick up all the limbs that's out
Right,
there,
and
you
that's
know.
the first thing, I mean, really, you cut them, you gotta be right there picking them up.
But I mean, I think we can take and kind of,
Looks
Well,
terrible too.
I think we can take and
Really a mulch.
kind of come up the side and kind of round out like this right here. And the objective is that you get that limb cut up high enough, when it breaks out, it'll swing and hit and fall in the road ditch instead of fall in the road in the middle of the night. So,
All right. Well,
thank y'all.
something to look
Thank you,
at.
Mike.
Thank you.
Last week, I forgot to mention, we got some prices from Lamar, if y'all wanna do any signs for,
School,
yeah, for the schools.
I thought it was,
No,
gonna go through the
no, no.
we
chamber.
already looked at it.
I thought the chamber was,
Chamber was doing it.
and
Yeah.
had some free spots.
I think there are some that
Are
are,
those running at this point?
Yes, they're
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
This is an additional sign out on
Yeah,
I-20 that
Oh, the
was
big
not
one.
in the loop.
Yeah.
And so we called and got a price for that particular sign.
yeah, the
We're
only,
on
the signs
I-20.
that they got are
Out Hines
all
Community
Lakewood
College, area,
Drive,
Pearl
basically.
High School.
The chamber. They got one right there on.
It's all
across
kind
the-
of wildering out
Yeah.
now. I don't care about doing
But the
that.
lady gave us a discount price, $75 a day. That'd be $375 for 5 days. So,
To put the same thing that we put up on the other billboards with all the
Yeah.
emblems of all the schools.
Just
I
right.
hadn't heard a person say they even saw it,
yeah.
any of
But they
them.
they only do it 5 days at a time. So you can do
Well,
it
that's for free
5 or
on
10.
those.
No, I'm just saying, I hadn't had anybody say they didn't see anything. All I see is stuff that they're doing to adopt a student
But
and
they gave us
stuff,
some
and they're all
others too. if
about
y'all
that,
wanted
but as
to
far as
do,
saying,
other around the county, you know, a package deal. I mean, the chamber deal is nice for a business, but I don't know if y'all are familiar how that works. I've learned a lot more about it than I care to know, but, they have 155 ads on that board.
Mhm.
So basically, we're one of 155.
right.
For on each board, our ad's gonna come up about once a day.
And if you want extra, you have to buy for extra seconds.
And so
Pay for it,
that's,
yeah.
that's what the guy at Lamar told me.
Yeah, I know that because I had one in the election, and they said, "Oh, if you want to show for more seconds, you have to pay for those." C-Spire came up every time it went by. It was C-Spire, so I said, "What's the deal?" "Oh, you have to." They buy for the minutes, the time.
But they had a
They
package
getting all
deal,
them subdivision, putting that fiber down in.
What is,
Yeah,
$2,600 for to cover the whole county. That'll get us down to.
But that's gonna be covering some of those same signs that we already are using through the chamber, but,
I don't think so.
Uh,
But these are gonna be we'll have our permanent, we'll be doing with 4 other people, according to what he told me.
I don't know, this late,
So,
I'm good. I'm good.
I don't care.
Whenever you're ready.
myself. If y'all wanna do it, fine, but I'm not getting any response from what we have now.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody's seen it.
Well, I'm saying, nobody's seen it.
So, I mean, I definitely wanna do I-20, and it's up to y'all if y'all wanna do the rest.
I'm good for I-20.
Yeah.
That sign really catches you coming and going, I mean, you know, if you're going to Jackson or back, and,
This
I
one
can't
over
think-
around Pearl?
it's right there at the Bass
by-
Road,
by- yeah.
right across the highway.
Yeah, won't anybody
It's-
down 49 see that.
Why?
Nobody, huh?
Have you gone past 49 when you get there?
Yeah, you turn off coming down 49. When you come down 20.
Maybe they missed the exit.
Yeah, yeah, if you're going on into Pearl, yeah, you will see
I
it,
think
you're
it's
right.
good.
I
Good.
mean, that one is the biggest
Yeah.
one, and,
Pick a
Actually,
company.
Steve, the one that we're gonna have is gonna be at
Pearl High School area.
at the, right there at the college.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
way
a
down.
permanent,
Not on
it's
20?
a permanent one.
Not
It's
on-
on I-20.
It's
but
on
right
20,
there at
but it's
college.
right-
It's not the one down by the Pearl exit. It's the one.
Close to the
Yeah,
airport,
in the
be
middle.
close to the airport
Oh,
exit.
oh,
Isn't that right, close to airport exit?
Yes.
That's right.
oh, I was thinking the one, when you
Yeah, I know
come
what
out the
you're talking about.
stack, and it's
Mhm.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm good. Make it happen.
They got any on 49?
They do.
That's the one that's in the loop with the chamber, is at Richland.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's
he
already
gave
up.
us a price for one
It's
down
already up.
49 South. It is,
The Richland, the same one the chamber does.
okay.
Hey, Janice,
They got any in
I,
bucket?
I know someone that's had a few of those billboards, and like Jared was saying,
They got one at Pisgah.
no, they don't.
That's what it says right here, Pisgah.
They got one in Puckett.
They do not.
Gaines owns that one in Pisgah. It's up.
They
He's
do
got a
not.
horse, a man in a
no,
horse
that's the
hanging.
schools, they saying that more.
They do not have a billboard at Pisgah, I can tell
You missed that one, didn't you?
you. There's another owner that
Yeah,
has
no
one out there.
kidding.
It's not Lamar doesn't have it, it's somebody else. But for about $1,500 on the electric screen panels, I know somebody that's used them, and they could be 1 out of 7. It was total of 7, and you'd run, and that would go around in a minute. So, you know, you divide that out, and you're getting about 8 seconds every minute. And that would flash through. Is that not what we're getting?
I
that-
think we're
that
getting
works
12
good, like you're
seconds,
talking about.
actually.
12 seconds a minute.
He said 8 seconds, every 8 seconds. it
But on,
No,
I'm talking
okay.
about on Mandy's.
Yeah.
On those, you're getting I thought
said
she
it
told
was
me
You said you get 12 seconds a day.
No,
8
a
seconds.
minute is what the person that I'm referring to would get. A minute would be somewhere, was about 8 seconds. But still, 8 or 12 every minute, you're gonna set at a stoplight most of the time, long enough that it'll make a full rotation, unless what Jay's saying, they're running 70. And you're only gonna be up there once a day.
He said they had 155 on with Mandy's.
But he may be talking about on all of the ones that Mandy, like Mandy may have 10 signs, and
She's
you
got
can divide them out,
a
and there's
list from
15.
Chick-fil-A to Old Fannin to Lakeland to Richland. She gave me a list of them.
If we're not,
What
if we're not
company
going up but once a day, then I'm
I
with
thought we
Jay.
were gonna be up more than once a
I
day.
would have thought so too.
One company I talked to after the fact, they only limit how many people be on.
Right, that's what.
But where,
exactly. No more
like
than
Busby,
7 or 8.
Busby puts as many as they can get on there, heck, unless you want to pay for
The time.
time for it to sit there, yeah.
Bishop, I'm good with, if we just do one, put it on I-20. I'm good for that. But if not, if we're gonna put them in, just do the whole package for
Yeah.
2,500.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I-20.
I'll double check
Do
with
anything
Eddie
for
to see how much
it would-
back
longer
Florida,
stays up.
Puckett.
My personal
It
decision
ain't
Large
gonna do, it
business.
ain't gonna do none of ours.
how long we're up on these other boards. If it's true that we're only coming up
It ain't really gonna
once
help
every
you north
hour
of
or two,
20, you really
I
want
just
Then
think
I'd
it's the
go
right
with
thing to
package.
do. And
If-
I'm good on just putting it on 20. I know that's people at the reservoir may not see it, but I'm not really doing it for me. I'm
No,
doing it for the
you do
betterment
it.
of everybody.
Yeah, but I'm
Which
saying
is why
you
I'm
do it.
good with-
I'm not for you, I'm not saying for you, I'm saying for those families,
Yeah,
the
I'm.
students.
Well, I
They're-
guess
they're
what
not
I'm
gonna-
saying
yours
is
ain't
I'm
gonna see it.
good. I'm good to put it on
That
20,
whole package, that's
or we
where
put it
they're
in
all
all of them,
located.
one or
Yeah.
two.
What is it gonna,
this front page.
say Rankin County
Yeah, but
schools,
then you
or they gonna
scroll,
say
there's
McLaurin?
pages after that.
I've
Puckett.
been in Rankin
I don't
County.
know all these.
It's got all their logos on it, school logos on it.
They are lit up at night, right here.
They do calls on the record,
Means they run at night.
just stop and wait for theirs to come up.
Be sitting there a while.
Sit and wait, they take a picture,
15 minutes over there it was.
Bishop,
Yeah.
give us
I
a
blinked and
suggestion.
missed.
What you
I,
yeah.
I think $2,600 be good and be done with it.
Put it where? Well, where's it going?
These spots.
Yeah.
What spot's there?
Airport Road,
Yeah.
Huh?
Grants Ferry,
Lakeland,
Highway 49 South,
That's the one at Richland.
Yeah.
Cross Gates 80.
That's the
and
Chick-fil-A. That's the one that the
Airport.
chamber already did
Yeah, I went out there.
on all those.
Yeah.
Brandon.
I didn't see
Where's
one
the
in
one
there.
around Brandon?
I didn't see one for Puckett.
Cross Gates,
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Brandon.
That's what
Yeah.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah, you ain't
I'm
got
thinking
nothing puppet, sorry, man.
Puckett, McLaurin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in McLaurin, if they travel.
Well,
the
Florida, if
highway,
they may
might
travel
see
49.
Richland.
they
But-
live on that pig trail,
But
that's
you,
where they wanna
but
do
you do
the
got
test.
Brandon. You got Brandon though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Brandon's on there for Cross Gates.
It's on both of them, that
So-
one.
I don't wanna pay twice to be on the same sign
Alright.
if we getting some coverage.
Okay.
I mean, if what Jay was told is correct, then we're not really getting any coverage.
Chamber's getting totally free, you
But-
know, so.
Well, that's right, we're not paying
There's
twice.
a reason why it's included with your membership.
Yeah. I'll check
Sounds
with
good,
them to
doesn't
see
it?
how
Yeah,
long
it
they're
does.
running.
Well,
I just wanted, if
How
y'all
many-
happen to
how many-
see it, if you know somebody happen to see it, let us know.
They give you a time on when
Now's
it's
the
gonna
time
be
to do
up.
it though.
how many
Joe,
we don't have to
Joe
wait.
Bennett, he's the one I dealt with.
can we like make,
Make a motion, Bishop. Just pick something.
Okay,
you know,
Jay,
get-
if you do the package, are you gonna still wanna do the I-20 sign?
That's
It's
part
in
of
the
it.
pack.
It's, the I-20 is in there?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
At
So
the
I
airport
gonna
road?
make
I
a motion
second
to add
Jay.
the item to the agenda.
Okay, I second Bishop.
All right, motion by myself, second by Daniel.
We talked about something for a long time, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna get one of them little sand deals, you know, and you flip upside down and it just starts counting
Tyler's
down.
over, we
Yeah.
hadn't voted on it by
I'm gonna get
then,
a
it's dead.
small one for Mike Word, but but when you go, I'm just gonna have a little bigger one.
As the world turns,
all right, you made the motion to
Yeah.
add it.
All right,
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I make a motion to approve doing the $2,600 package that way.
Second.
Everybody get a little exposure.
Second.
Advertising county resources.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. Motion by myself, second by Daniel, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
You wanna see where you gonna benefit?
Jared, I
Alright.
need that.
Do we have an executive session?
Thank you.
My man.
I'm going over if anybody wants to.
I wanna see our pretty courthouse.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Y'all
I
not, this,
got, I got
we're
work
gonna be in
this
that
thing
building
called,
this
I'm
term. I
headed
don't
that
know
way.
why y'all going over there.
Feel
I'm
free
gonna
to
have
call
to
me,
go
we'll
make a
get it by the turn. All right, do we adjourn or recess? All right, have a motion to recess until May 15th,
Motion.
9 o'clock. By Steve,
Second.
second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Don Shula died.
Who?
Don Shula.
Did he?
That night.